Hello everyone and welcome back to another high-level match of StarCraft 2. Now what I've got for you today is a best-of-3 series of top-level Terran versus Protoss, where in game number 1 we find ourselves on the map Babylon. Now spotting here in the top right-hand corner, playing with the red Terran SCVs, we have ByuN and his opponent in the opposite corner. He's got CEST spinning around on the main Nexus for some reason. I found out about this a couple of days ago. Playing right here with the blue Protoss pieces. He goes by the name of herO. Alrighty, herO going up against ByuN in a best-of-5 series. Apparently he's starting off this game with a very interestingly positioned gateway right over here on the left side of the map. This is definitely a location that Terran is not going to scout anytime soon. I mean, normally you'd expect it right about over here, or maybe right over here, or right around over here. There's a couple of different locations where Terran can expect it. The thing is, in a lot of games, Terrans don't even really bother scouting so much, so I'm assuming that herO keeps that in mind as well here, and I think he's probably got something aggressive planned. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to, yeah, put a couple of your structures out in a very vulnerable location and then play a passive game. So we're gonna go straight into a Zealot. Interesting. So there should be a command center on the low ground on the back of this. It's even a Marine first here from ByuN, so he's not gonna have any scouting information whatsoever. He does check the back of his natural expo. It's a little interesting. Honestly, I was gonna say, I don't even think this probe block is necessarily that good. Because now you've sort of forced the command center in a main base here instead. I mean, he was hoping there. He was, you know, pretending that his probe micro wasn't very good, then he was gonna... Okay, well, that was unfortunate. Anyways, he was pretending like his probe micro wasn't particularly good, and he was gonna give his opponent the natural low ground there eventually, but... Now the command center has come up in the main base, and it's gonna make things a little bit awkward. Zealot here waiting on the left side of the map. A second Zealot on the back of this too. Command center does come up here at a relatively normal timing. So it's not a double gate or anything like that. It's just going to be a single gateway here producing unit after unit, and he's just queuing up as much as he possibly can. Yeah, now it's a little awkward. You really wanted to have that command center here on the low ground. Zealots are considered to be one of the worst units in the early game of, well, Protoss versus Terran. Mostly because of the fact that they are not ranged units, and all of the Terran units are, other than SCVs, I suppose. This can still, yeah, pack a bit of a punch, right? Obviously, those shields will regenerate, and now with the Zealots providing high ground vision here, herO is going to be able to get some additional range here on his Stalker. This is still annoying, though. Very annoying for the Terran player to have to deal with. He doesn't really have that much production. It's a triple Rex on the back of this. Now, he's going to go straight into a tech lab here as well. Good control on those Zealots for now, keeping them all alive. Command center is done, and yeah, even though a couple of SCVs are bruised, this is certainly not justifying this opener for the Protoss player just yet. Now, does he really need to deal a lot of damage? Not necessarily. It's just that if he loses those structures out on the map, it does make the game a whole lot harder. But then again, Terran players in this matchup, they don't really play that aggressively lately either, right? They like to sit around and wait for their upgrades to kick in and just sort of let the Protoss player dictate the pace of the game. It's going to be both Stimpack as well as concussive shells here, so that's going to be for those Marauders that will be incredibly helpful against the Stalkers. And honestly, for the most part, I think that this early game aggression has been shut down. So Twilight Council inside of the main base, straight into the Blink upgrade, and more gateways as well. So herO is basically saying, look, I am going to be aggressive literally the entire game long. I am not going to bother with, yeah, worrying about my structures in the middle of... I'm just gonna be aggressive, and as long as I'm in your face, this is gonna be fantastic for me. Now, this is the moment, though, where Concussive Shells kicks in, and yeah, that is a fantastic upgrade to catch those early game units. And you can see here that ByuN has got himself a nice army here already. He should fire up, I was gonna say, the combat shields upgrade, and that's exactly what he does right now. With concussive shells, yeah, with the Marauder in charge here, the commanding officer of this army, he can definitely start roaming the map. That's gonna be an adept. Yep, super dead. Okay. Ooh. herO, what are we doing? Why do we have a probe right over here in the bottom right-hand corner? Normally, Terran will not get aggressive until their Stimpack and combat shields are done. I wouldn't mind seeing an NG Bay right around this time either, because he doesn't know exactly what he's playing against. This could very well still be a Stargate-based opener, right? It would be a little uncommon with this aggression here from herO. Especially since herO really is fond of going for Blink Stalkers, but... I mean, the main base is not particularly protected. Anyhow, yeah. Stimpack is gonna finish up, Blink a few seconds behind it. We've got a pylon in the bottom right-hand corner, but that probe is sticking around. We're gonna have to keep an eye out on this, but I think herO has got some bigger worries to, yeah, keep in mind here. Blink. No blink? Okay. Must have been on cooldown, or maybe it was just a little bit late on the click. Good force field there. At the very least, soaking up a couple of those hits or those probes too. Yeah, okay. Eventually, this will all be shut down, but that was a little pricey. Jimmy the Marine here has been tasked with killing, well, whatever he can. He's now, yeah, God, that was brutal, actually. That's a very brutal way to go. I have no idea what sort of attacks those stalkers have, man, but apparently it's a chainsaw. I thought it was like a lightning bolt of some sort, but it's like Doom now, man. God, that was brutal. Poor Jimmy. All right, so we do have another big square right there on the minimap. Yep, okay. hero, you're on the wrong side of the mineral line. The quote-unquote wrong side. Normally you build your Nexus, well, right over here on top of that little carpet. The idea is, of course, that you, well, get the gas going here too, but apparently hero doesn't worry about the gas. And I actually really like this, because for the time being, the odds of Terran moving out, other than with maybe a medevac drop, and obviously ByuN is very dangerous with those, but the odds of Terran moving out right now are rather small, as long as you are in their face the entire time. Look at the timing right here of that starport. It's only just now finishing up, so 6.5 minutes into the game is a little bit later even. It's the first moment where we're gonna have a starport. And medevacs are still a little while away. So, yeah, this Nexus is gonna finish up. Apparently, we're not gonna recall the probes there. We're gonna just walk them over in that direction. Probably saving the recall in case he needs a couple of units here as a, an emergency. You love to see it, yeah. So, as long as these structures are all up, I mean, the whole main base, or the entire map, I guess, is his main base, right? He doesn't really have to worry that much about where he builds the structures, as long as he keeps the Terran player right around this section of the map. Armor upgrades coming up. Charge coming up as well. A load of additional gateways here, so he's just gonna stick around. He's becoming the gateway man. There's no robo facility, there's no robo bay obviously either, there's no disruptors, none of that. We're just gonna make stalkers and a whole lot of zealots. Honestly, with these sort of builds, I don't mind seeing double forge. That seems to be what MaxSpecs plays very frequently in these sort of situations, and it's very powerful. ByuN, by the way, at this point, doesn't know about the golden minerals, right? Just to clarify, he has no idea about what's going on in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. Already, hero's economy is nice, but he needs to stay alive here. These are actually very powerful Terran armies. The Guardian Shield there does reduce the damage output of those Marines and Marauders quite a bit, but that's a lot of Marauders. Charge is going to finish up right now. Please make some room, please make some room. Okay, we're going to blink backwards to allow those Zealots to get to the front. The pylon here was shut down, but that's honestly not really that bad. So for a second, that was an SCV. I thought that ByuN was maybe also sneaking out of base over there on the left side of the map. A couple of Widow Mines here in front. Okay, good split right there from hero. Trying his very best to keep as many of these units alive. Once again, dancing back and forth. He's got a lot of money in the bank, though. 15, 16-ish, 100 resources right now. That's a lot. That's a lot more than he should have, at the very least. Again, taking a page out of CEST book. You love to see it. Beautiful. Okay. So, at this point, ByuN, yeah, alarm bells should start going off, right? He probably assumes... He hasn't scanned this one. He probably assumes that this is the third, and that this over here is the fourth base of hero. Well, he's right at the very least that the fourth base is over there on the left, but he doesn't really know exactly where the third base is located. And as a matter of fact, we're going for a double gold base right now. Zealots here on the right side of the map as well, being an absolute nuisance. ByuN forced to dance in between. So far, he's doing a good job of matching the Protoss economy. Those mules really helping out. But the problem with those mules is that your main base and your natural are going to run low very quickly. We're now getting to the point where ByuN is forced out into the map. He doesn't really have a choice anymore. Okay, Zealot's still getting some work done, though. I mean, good micro here on both sides. I feel like this is still one bad engagement away from all of those Stalkers just melting, but... For the time being, at least the majority of them are alive. Hero just continues treating the entire map as his base, as he's now even building a gateway right over here next to the third command center. Does he have enough to break through all of this? I mean, it's gonna allow him to reinforce everything really rapidly. 13 SCVs have gone down as well. 8 Stalkers warped in here at a time. God, I love this sort of aggression. Yeah, ByuN is going to be forced to get on out of there. You know what? Maybe his base is even going to be in some trouble. Okay. Yeah, he gets it. In the meantime, golden base number 2 has finished up. Minerals are coming in very rapidly right now for hero. Alright, ByuN is in a pretty dire situation here, right? If we look at the income advantage, I mean, it doesn't really look that tremendous, but it's gonna add up over time as well. With ByuN running out of his minerals and hero getting some fresh golden ones, these income advantages are gonna be incredibly apparent. So as long as hero can keep his opponent contained right now on these bases that he's got, he's gonna be in a phenomenal spot. Double Robo now in total, together with a Robo base, so we are making that transition. I'm a little surprised we haven't seen a second forge, to be honest. He's had the money for it for quite a while. I guess he doesn't have that much gas, which is probably the reason why he's got so many zealots. Anyways, yeah, we're just gonna continue warping in as many of those low-tier units as possible. There are so many available right now, though. Dropping the main base, too. Protoss trying to collapse on top of this entire Terran army. Okay, those Widow Mines are putting in a lot of work, but nice force fields there as well, at least slicing off some of that army. Zealots in the main base still dealing some damage too. It's now going to be the old main command center, the one that ByuN started off this game with, that's going to be flying on over towards the low ground. I mean, hero is looking dominant here, man. Excellent gameplay as well from ByuN, but the thing is, ByuN is playing a completely scoutless game. He's not really caring too much about what's happening on the rest of the map. And if this would have been a normal map, right? A map without golden minerals, I actually feel like ByuN would have been in a game-winning position. I mean, he's still not out of this yet, though. Hold up. He's actually taking some very efficient trades. Yeah, and he does secure a new mineral line right now. He doesn't have that many SCVs, but he's got a scary army. Protoss really feels like it has to jump through 7 hoops in some of these games, man, in order to win against Terrans. It's kind of nutty. Look at the minimap right now. Look at how much hero actually has got under his control. This man has been in his opponent's face since, well, minute probably 130. I mean, he forced the CC in the main base. He would have been in his opponent's face at the 1.5 minute mark, you know, if the command center was on the low ground. Anyways, now Colossi are joining in. ByuN has got no answer, other than Marauders. I mean, Marauders are real good, don't get me wrong, but I don't think there's real... I mean, that's still a scary-looking Terran army. If this is gonna be a Terran win, I can't wait to look at the YouTube comment section. There's gonna be some salty Protosses, man. Nah, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. A couple of Immortals now also coming up. Extended Thermal Lens finishing in a couple of seconds, too. That is gonna be pretty much all you're gonna need here as hero. Just warping in as many units as possible. SCVs pulled away for what seems to be the 10th time. Those bad boys don't get to do a lot of mining. GG is cold, and hero obtains the victory in game number 1. Babylon, game number 2. This is considered to be a rather tricky map for Protoss players against Terran. It's definitely going to be ByuN's map pick. The main reason, of course, is because of this little section right over here. Both hero and MaxSpecs are big fans of... Well, especially MaxSpecs. They're big fans of playing that Blink Stalker-based army. Basically the same strategy that we saw in the previous game. Although the previous one was a little different, of course, with the golden minerals and the aggressive positioning. I guess we can call it that. But on this map... you kind of get stuck over here. Like, you can blink into the main base somewhat, but there's not really that much terrain that Terran really needs to cover here, and it's just not a very good blink map. So a lot of Terrans, they are very fond right now of going for a triple CC opener right here on Babylon. Would not be surprised at all if ByuN decides to go for that as well. This time around, by the way, it's going to be a good old gateway inside of the main base of the Protoss. How normal. Yeah, how crazy. Okay. Curious to see if hero has got any particular strategy in mind for this map. Blink Stalker is still definitely something you can play, but for example, when I watch MaxSpecs games, and MaxSpecs is very much so the type of guy who will go for a Blink Stalker opener every single time, every single map that it's possible, he generally does not seem to play Blink Stalker on this map. So if he does not play, I think if MaxSpecs is not playing Blink Stalker against Terran on a map, it's a very good indicator that you probably shouldn't either. Because that man will... Ooh, okay, nah, this is ByuN, man. You gotta be careful here, hero. He pulled the SCVs to try and get us around on the probe. Not gonna happen. Hero posting a little crying face over there. And he's saying something. No idea what he's saying. Anyways. Whew. Oh, I would love to know what he's saying. There's probably someone in the comment section that has written the translation for whatever hero just said. You should probably scroll down. Right below the like button, click the like button, scroll down, and then, well, you don't have to click it. You can also, maybe you're watching this on an iPad or a phone or something. You can just gently tap it. Just a little, bloop, just a little tap on the like button. Really does help me out. Thank you, appreciate you. Okay, Stargate coming up right here for hero in the middle of the map. Yeah, the entire map is his canvas. I think this is beautiful, man. I remember my art teacher in high school telling us that we need to use the entire canvas. Don't just feel like you're stuck in one corner, because sometimes, you know, you just end up filling all of the blank space up because you didn't plan in advance. And it's, I guess, the same if, like, you have, like, a stage performance or something. You should use the entire stage, or at the very least, you should be confident there, right? Don't just stand off to the side and in the corner. And that's basically the way that hero, he's listened to his art teachers, man, and I appreciate that. He is using the entire map. He's been given the map, so he's gonna use the map. Unlike ByuN, look at him. Painting in the bottom right-hand corner of the canvas. My high school teacher would be very upset over this, ByuN. Anyways, this is the way that Terrans currently like to approach the matchup. One of the scariest units, though, that Terrans usually make against Protoss is, of course, the Ghost. And none of that really came into the mix in the previous game at all. And if it's up to hero, he is not gonna see them in this game either. Flies the Oracle straight into the main base. This is showing up a bit earlier than you normally would see it. About, I want to say 20 seconds. Maybe a little less. So it's, yeah, it's actually dealing a bunch of damage. Can we get one more? Ugh, okay. Yeah, so it takes 3 of those little Oracle beams to kill an SCV, rather than, well, you see this unit all the time in Protoss versus Zerg. Drones only take 2 hits. And that's because you want to hear something that still bothers people when they find out about it. This is something that has been a balanced debate on the forums for years. SCVs have 45 health. Probes and drones have 40 health. Because of that, Oracles and Adepts and a bunch of units need an additional shot to be able to kill an SCV. This is something that a lot of people get very worked up on when they find out about this. It's honestly a non-issue at this level of play, and as a matter of fact, it's considered a feature. Yeah, there's a lot of, especially I think on the lower end of the ladder, a lot of people that get very upset when they find out about this sort of thing. Sorry if you just found yourself getting upset. I didn't mean to insult you for being lower up on the ladder. I'm just pointing it out, okay? Anyways, there was a time when those Oracles could shot, or two-shot those SCVs, and that was considered to be a bit of a disaster. Anyways, Stimpak coming up right now for ByuN. Combat Shields, +1. All of it is just about, well, actually, no, not the +1, never mind. All of these upgrades, though, are gonna finish up right around, well, minus the +1, around the same time, so really only 2. They're gonna be marching straight through the center of the map. This is a much more passive game this time around from hero, minus, of course, that Proxy Stargate, and I think those are the only 2 Oracles we're gonna see. No, it's just an Oracle and a single Phoenix, okay. Could have sworn I saw a second Oracle in the production tab, but maybe he cancelled it? Prism going around the left side of the map. This is actually a scary attack, though. The force fields are gonna have to be perfect. I think from hero, that is something you can expect. Look at ByuN trying to bait them out. Hello? Well, those... Okay, well, that was not my favorite set of force fields, I'll be honest with you. You had one job. Gresven, game number 3, the final game of this best-of-3 series. Okay. A little bit of a slip-up right there by hero. Nothing he won't be able to recover from. Protoss micro like that in the early game, and honestly Protoss micro in general. It is absolutely brutal. Obviously well executed right there by ByuN, but that wasn't really supposed to just straight up win the game. Anyhow, when does CEST actually complete his mandatory military service? Because maybe there's a chance he's gonna come back at the end of the year. So according to his Liquipedia page, CEST, well, his military service, it says ongoing. I think we all knew that. But apparently he retired from the game on the 19th of June, 2022. So give or take about a year or so ago at this point. I think most of the Korean military service is about 18 months. Up to maybe like 2 years or so. I think it depends on the branch of the military that you serve in. But anyways, I have no understanding of this. I'm just, you know, telling you what other people have told me. So I might be completely wrong. There is a chance that he's gonna be done by the end of 2023. Maybe around Christmas time. I think in my mind, I think in a lot of the Korean pro gamers' minds, when they first become pro gamers, right? I think they're probably assuming, okay, I'm gonna do this for a couple years, I'm gonna have some fun, I'm gonna travel the world, I'm gonna make some money, and then my quote-unquote real life starts whenever my mandatory military service is over. I think that's probably how a lot of the Korean guys view themselves. But then, a lot of them, even when they say, okay, I'm not gonna come back after the military, a lot of them realize that, well, maybe living a normal life is not quite as much fun as being a professional gamer. So even though many of the pros, they do initially say, okay, when my military service is done, I'm not gonna bother. I am done as a professional gamer. As soon as they try a couple of months of that, they're like, you know what? Maybe traveling the world and deciding my own schedule and being really good at something is not so bad after all. Albeit, maybe a little bit unpredictable, especially as far as the future goes. So I have no idea what CEST's plans are, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're gonna be seeing CEST in, well, maybe StarCraft 2, maybe StarCraft Brood War, maybe Stormgate. A bunch of the Korean guys have been playing Age of Empires as well. Like, for example, Linok, considered to be one of the very best Age of Empires 4 players. That's kind of cool. Not so much Warcraft 3, though. I don't think there's a lot of guys switching to Warcraft 3, but I mean, obviously, Happy, the Warcraft 3 guy, one of the very best players ever. He used to be a StarCraft pro, but these days he is, well, even so. Basically, what I'm saying, right? Even if you don't hear from a pro gamer in quite a long time, there is still a chance that they are competing, but just in a different game than you may be used to. It's gonna be interesting actually when Stormgate comes out. A lot of the pro, it's by the way a robo facility opener. Anyways, it's gonna be interesting when Stormgate comes out, assuming that that game is going to be good. It's gonna be a very interesting time, where I think the Age of Empires 2 guys are switching over, the Warcraft 3 guys, StarCraft 1, StarCraft 2. There is gonna be a huge amount of competition, and everybody's going to suck. If you look at StarCraft Wings of Liberty games, there were some very good players that were very good in Brood War that switched over to StarCraft 2, and they were horrible. If you compare it to strategies that we play these days, at the very least. Like, maybe mechanically they were kind of good, but it's gonna be an interesting time. Also, as a StarCraft 2 commentator, by the way, I definitely do plan on casting some Stormgate matches. As, you know, again, the game is actually turning out to be good. But there's gonna be a huge amount of competition there as well. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe 5 years ago, my StarCraft casts were questionable to say the least, but I'm pretty happy where we're at these days. I think I could probably do a good job casting other games too. But anyways, what is this? hero decided to go for a very quick Robo Bay. I would say in like 9 out of 10 Terran versus Protoss games right now, it is a Twilight Council opener, right? So Stargate opener maybe in 1 out of 10 games. And then every once in a while, every once in a blue moon, we see a Robo facility first. This is a Colossus Rush. Now, why is he going for a Colossus Rush? ByuN seems to be very fond of these triple gateway pushes. And it turns out, you can get yourself a Colossus done in time. He's even getting the Gravitic Drive upgrade. That's the Warp Prism speed improvement. I guess he can do some drop shenanigans against this army. I mean, the Colossus is gonna pop right now. He smashed his piggy bank for that, though. He actually hit a bit of a supply block here, too. Decides to warp in some additional Stalkers. We have to come in, though. Are we... Oh, we're gonna go for the counterattack? I really would have sworn that we're gonna use that Colossus defensively. Okay, now we are. Just one Zealot and one Sentry going down for now. Really? Okay, are we gonna dance? We can dance if we want to. We can shoot lasers all day. Good splits right there by ByuN, but this is actually really sick. A cheeky little counter, and now Gravitic Drive is done, so look at that, the Prism can chase! Let's go, hero. Yep, okay, well that's the entire Terran army roasted. Look at that, hero Colossus, 11 confirmed kills, just about 30 seconds after he popped out of the Robo facility. Okay. So there is going to be another command center coming up right now for ByuN. Look at the splits here, right? So he's trying his very best to just split to the best of his abilities. I think he should have had some missile turrets. Yeah, there is a missile turret up there, but I mean like, you know, in the mineral line. to prevent this Prism from just flying around like this. Obviously, if you lose the Prism with the Colossus inside of it, you end up losing everything. It's not great, don't do it. Shout out, by the way, to these Marines as well. Colossi are supposed to be the size of skyscrapers, and they're not afraid of shooting their guns up a skyscraper like that, so that's pretty impressive. Nicely done right there by hero. Getting 6 SCVs and the bunker. The Colossus, by the way, will start regenerating shields while inside of the Prism. Something not to be underestimated. There is a Viking available right now. Prism and the Colossi are both relatively low, but I don't think he's done yet. Nah. Blink is going to be on the back of this as well. He's just shut down the production on barracks number 3 and 4. Colossus, careful now. Okay, he's going to be back in range right there of the Prism. And this is apparently where hero is going to push down the pedal once again. Third Nexus is done. Lovely start right here, though. I mean, yeah, he does end up losing the Colossus there eventually. I think it was just a matter of time. The Prism immediately picks up at least one of the disruptors. The missile turret is positioned properly right here, though, to deal with any pesky Prisms like that. I mean, he can try and come in from the side, maybe? Okay, yeah, he's just in a... Yeah, but it's giving the Terran player a lot of time. A lot of heads up. That still was almost a disaster. A couple Marines end up going down here, but nothing all too crazy. Okay. So. Command Center number 4 starts up. Has ByuN forgotten that he already made one? ByuN? Oh, no. Did ByuN forget that he made another Command Center? No! Okay, no, he just selected the idle SCV. ByuN! Ah, there you go. Okay, he remembered. He remembered now. That's important. I actually think he was not really supposed to... Oh, but it doesn't really matter all too much, I guess. It certainly does mean that he's not going to have that big of an army, though. And any pushing potential is thrown out of the window. Orbital command is going to be nice. He's going to be able to fly that down towards the low ground here. Fourth Nexus already coming up here over on the left side of the map at the 9 o'clock position. Okay. Look at the amount of upgrades, though. Coming up right now for hero. Big power spike within the next half minute or so. Ranged upgrade for the Colossus. Charge upgrade for the Zealots. And 1-1 for basically all of those units. You don't want to lose anything, obviously, here. Oh, gets a medevac too. Couple Marines on his way out. Sick flip right there by Jimmy and the boys. Although they are dead right now, which is maybe a bit sad. But this is going to be a very scary timing attack here coming up from hero, I believe. I mean, I'm inclined to imagine at least he's going to test the waters. He doesn't really need to, since he does already have the 4th Nexus here done. Okay, so with the 3rd command center, though, landed right now. Did he cancel the 4th one? No, no, no. So this is just like a macro orbital? Strange. Anyways, with all of this done here, I do believe that he's gonna go for an attack shortly because there's no Ghost Academy yet. If you're not gonna go for a Ghost Academy, you really need to go for some sort of attack. Well, he's waiting right now for Protoss to come to him. Couple of Zealots there, trying to charge at the siege tanks. But this fight here, I'm not all too fond of. Pushing into sieged up tanks like that always is a little bit dangerous. Yeah, despite all of this early game damage, Terran still does find themselves in a pretty decent spot. Armory here is way too late, so that's going to be hindering his upgrades quite a bit, whereas Protoss is fired up +2/+2 right away. This is actually such a sloppy mistake. I really get bothered by these mistakes. I don't know if there's anybody else that's looking at this and like, this happens so often in like Silver League, you know, where you're trying to start up +2/+2 for your infantry-based army, but you find out, oh crap, I need an armory in order to start up +2. This happens a surprising amount at this level of play too, where Terrans start up the armory when 1-1 is already done, and it just delays everything. The entire flow of the game is thrown out of the window because, well, you just can't continuously upgrade. And this means that, well, we're gonna see ByuN sitting back, I guess. I mean, it could still go for an attack if he wants to. This is still ByuN we're talking about, and at least historically he's always been a fan of that, but anyhow. It always does definitely feel a little bit sloppy to me. Protoss in the meantime, taking that base all the way at the 12 o'clock. Yeah, I guess this is the 12 o'clock right over here on the minimap. The 11:30 o'clock. This is the 12:30 right over here. Once again, treating the entire map as his canvas. You love to see it. +3/+3 has come up here as well, immediately. So look at this. This is what I'm talking about, especially with chrono boosts. With the new multiplayer balance patch. These upgrades are all much faster. And hero is going to be able to overpower his opponent for quite a while. Okay. So what I really thought was going to be aggression from both players was just hero testing the waters and ByuN sitting back. Trying to play aggressive as well. To a lesser extent in Terran versus Protoss, Terran can definitely still get some good value out with the positioning of, well, planetary fortresses. Fortry. Planetary fortry, that's the correct plural. It's just zealots in here, right? I was gonna say, I haven't seen a Templar Archives or anything like that. Okay, Prism speeding around the right side of the map. He's found some dead space over here earlier already. Gonna drop off a few zealots over here. And now the Terran army. Yeah, at the front is gonna be in some trouble too. This is actually a really scary attack right now from hero. He does have a lot of units. Marauders once again leading the charge. Where are those ghosts? Does he even really need the ghost? There's another disruptor coming up. Grabbing a few marines, grabbing a few marauders. Big zealot warping in the main base, it looks like. Trying to get rid of as many of those SCVs as possible, but also creating chaos, right? That may very well allow the Protoss here to roll those disruptors in. Colossus trying to get some damage in. Pretty much always sustainably putting in the work. 22 SCVs have gone down right now, and it looks like hero, yeah, is starting to win the fight over here at the front as well. Not all of the zealots have been cleaned up. Looks like there's... Did I miss like a big disruptor hit, or like where... I guess not. No, I didn't really miss a big disruptor hit. It was just zealots in the main base cleaning up a lot of marines and marauders, and then ByuN over here losing a bunch of stuff too. There is a random disruptor over here in the middle, but ByuN just plummeted in supply, whereas hero is actually still at least somewhat on top of his unit production. He still has a ton of money in the bank. Another big warp in would not be underestimated, I don't think, because that would be, or cannot be underestimated right here, because it would be very powerful. Instead, he's just taking every single base on his side of the map. +3/+3 finishing. I think you should continue fighting right now. I really think that hero should just put his foot down some more. Terran is sieged up right now, but it's only 2 tanks. And there's still a scary amount of Protoss here available. Okay, the Zealots are charging forward. Those Colossi, okay, trying to put in some work too. Siege tank there does somehow, some way stay alive because he's concerned. EMP on most of those Zealots. It does shut them down. But in the end, there can only be one winner. ByuN sees where this game is going, and it's hero who obtains the victory.